I have lost 14 BTC over the last 8 years. That is worth about $2.2 million today. Now, you're probably asking, were you dropped on your head as a child or thrown? And the answer is yes. Nah, but here's the real tragedy. 90% of people buying Bitcoin today are still gonna make one of the 3 mistakes that cost me all that Bitcoin. I'm gonna break down what these 3 mistakes are and how you can avoid them. Mistake number 1, trading Bitcoin. Trading Bitcoin cost me 4 BTC, or over $500,000. But I'm not alone in this one, because almost everyone who gets into Bitcoin tries to trade it at some point. What was my reason? I thought I had a cheat code. Bitcoin's price is like poetry. Every 4 years, we get something called a halving, where the inflation rate of Bitcoin gets cut in half. This happens over and over again until the year 2140, when there will be no more new Bitcoin to be mined. Typically, after one of these halvings, a similar, almost predictable pattern plays out. 18 months in, the price hits a crazy, crazy peak, then a brutal meltdown over the next year, then 2 years of slow, painful recovery. I like to call them Kanye cycles. This pattern has basically repeated this 3 times now. Oh, but Julian, that sounds so easy and predictable. Why don't you just buy low and sell high? Because you're not going to. You're gonna think it goes much higher than it actually does, and you're gonna think it goes much lower than it actually does. But there's not a single long-term Bitcoin investor that's made more from day trading it alone than just holding it. Not a single hedge fund, not a verifiable day trader, nobody. Okay, but it's still volatile. There's gotta be some money to be made, right? They did a study in Taiwan over 15 years that showed that just 1% of traders managed to outperform the S&P 500 over their careers. The S&P returns about 9% a year. Bitcoin returns about 50%. Let me put it this way. You are statistically more likely to get accepted into Harvard, be born with 11 fingers, or get hit by a car on your 30th birthday, then you are to make more profit than someone who just bought Bitcoin and took a nap for 5 years. Nevertheless, I used to be that guy, but I quickly learned that you're not that guy, pal. Trust me, you're not that guy.
Okay.
I had alerts when the RSI broke a certain level. I used to do late night quick flips in the Discord group. I not only slightly underperformed the market, but when I finally quit trading for my mental health, which has totally recovered by the way, I could buy 4 fewer Bitcoin than had I just put all my capital into it instead of trading. A $500,000 mistake, all because I had an ego. I was gonna be the one that bought the bottom and sold the top. So these days, I'm a much bigger fan of Michael Saylor's advice.
And I'm going to be buying Bitcoin at the top forever. I missed it at 10,000. I missed it at 20,000. I missed it at 100,000. It's still less than $1 million a coin. You're getting a 90% discount.
Mistake number 2, altcoins. I lost 2 whole BTC buying altcoins, hoping they would outperform Bitcoin. Spoiler alert, they didn't. Altcoins are like the Make-A-Wish Foundation for broke gamblers. A little bit of hope right before the plug gets pulled. The thing is, everyone, and I mean everyone, wants to invent the next Bitcoin. But the problem is Bitcoin wasn't just an invention, it was also a discovery. For decades, cypherpunks tried to create a digital currency with things like Hashcash, Proof of Work, and Bitcoin, but none of them worked. It wasn't until Satoshi published the Bitcoin white paper that it was even proven possible to make a decentralized digital currency. Bitcoin's value endures because you can't copy what actually matters. The fact that it has the longest running, most battle-tested blockchain, the most secure network of any digital currency, and the most credible ossified monetary policy. Ossified just means that you pretty much can't change it. You can build a shinier coin, but you don't rediscover gravity. And yet, altcoins keep trying. How do I know? Look at the price charts. Ethereum, Ripple, Cardano, all down 70, 80, 90% against Bitcoin. To be honest, most of them just go to zero. And here's the kicker. It's not just altcoins anymore. These new respectable Bitcoin treasury companies operate on the same premise. Don't just buy Bitcoin yourself, buy our shares, trust our math, trust that we'll be able to somehow outperform Bitcoin by just buying it ourselves? It's altcoin logic in a suit. Instead of a Discord pump group, you get a press release and a NASDAQ ticker. And I know, not all of them are complete scams, but the story is still the same. Give us your money, watch our founder rip 1,000 podcasts, and if the stars align, you can outperform Bitcoin by 3%. Spoiler alert, most of them probably won't. At the end of the day, the only thing that's actually scarce is Bitcoin itself. The tokens, the shares, the ETFs, they're unlimited and they're distractions. And distractions don't just cost you money, they cost you Bitcoin, which is infinitely worse. Mistake number 3, taking custody or not taking custody. This has cost me about 8 BTC over the last few years, which is worth almost $1 million at this point, and probably tens of millions of dollars in the future. Look, I get it. Leaving Bitcoin on an exchange feels right because it's the less stressful option. Self-custody is a little bit scary. Moving thousands of dollars via QR codes and strings of numbers and letters and then banging them into a metal plate makes my palms sweaty just thinking about it. But let's be honest, you got into Bitcoin because you have some balls, even the ladies. And you don't put balls on the field unless you've got a jock strap. Sorry, I can't wrap my head around normal metaphors today. Bear with me. If you leave your Bitcoin on an exchange, you're basically handing your child over to a stranger and hoping that they don't drop it or harvest it for adrenochrome. Now, most exchanges don't want to drop your child, but you have no way of knowing what's happening behind the scenes. You don't find out until one day you wake up, it's all gone, and you're lucky enough to file for a bankruptcy lawsuit. I would know because it happened to me. I kept putting off self-custody because of the headache until it was too late. I had all my funds, my Bitcoin on an exchange, and it finally pulled the plug. They lost all the funds, and boom, next thing you know, I'm on TV for it.
You did have funds in FTX. You did lose money as a result of the collapse. How much did you have in funds and how much did you lose?
Call it like a year's salary for, somebody working in this industry.
The good news is taking self-custody today is way easier than it used to be. So, I'm gonna show you my setup in under 60 seconds. First of all, you don't even need to use an exchange that holds your Bitcoin anymore. The platform that I use, Bitcoin Well, forces you to provide them with a wallet address that you already control. That means any Bitcoin that you buy through them goes straight into a wallet you already have the keys to. And because of that, they're actually way cheaper than most exchanges. You can check it out, link in the description, even get some free Bitcoin if you sign up with my link. Second is storage. I use a super simple setup, which is basically just the Blockstream app and a Jade Plus. The best part is it is so simple that a toddler could set it up. This is fully open source and was actually designed by one of the people cited in Satoshi's original Bitcoin white paper. You can pick one up, 20% down below with a link in the description. Was that 60 seconds? I think so. Let's go. When you self-custody Bitcoin, it hits different. You feel the weight of it. You write down your seed words, bang, or slide them into some steel, and then you hide it like treasure. That process rewires your brain. You stop thinking of Bitcoin like a trade, and then you start thinking of it like a thing to protect. Oh yeah, and last note on this, crypto exchanges are not banks. They're casinos. And casinos are not designed to hold your money. They're designed to separate you from it. I learned the hard way that Bitcoin does not care about your ego, your shortcuts, or your excuses. And I lost 14 BTC or $2.2 million in the process. Just a little bit more expensive than a Harvard degree. But if you respect it, protect it, and take self-custody, it could be there long after everything else is gone, including you. And hey, at least when you're dead, your kids won't have to go to bankruptcy court to inherit their Bitcoin. They'll just have to figure out where you hid those steel plates. Woo!